Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com, and this will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, July 7th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trade plan development, or who knows, maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts, how they can be used to develop decisions, develop good choices, then this will be a video for you. And real quickly on that note, if you do enjoy what you're hearing and want to learn more about charts, how I use them, the philosophy behind why they are such a powerful tool within the markets, then I am offering a live free class this Thursday, so you can learn more about the details here. But just click the link if you're watching on YouTube in the description box. If you're watching at my site, plenty of areas around the screen that you can click. So like I said, if you do like what you hear, if you want to learn more, then I want to invite you to join this live class that I'm offering this Thursday. So the first stock here, ticker symbol BSQR, and a very nice overall 30-minute pattern. I should note these are 30-minute time frames, meaning each one of those candlesticks represents 30 minutes. But what we have here is basically a cup and handle formation that's formed. So there you can see the cup, and now it's started to come back down. So it's just really a question of, can the price get continuation back up through the handle part of the pattern, which is where this trend line here, let's try that again, which is where this area here comes into play. So that trend line there is basically representing a breakout from the couple and handle formation. So you're going to want to keep a close eye on that. No such thing as a guarantee, but it's a more than valid, more than rational thought to have that, if the price gets up here and can break up through that area, then getting up to $8 and potentially even higher than that is a more than rational thought to have. Again, not guaranteed, but certainly a valid thought process. And then the kind of the added bonus here is this pattern is, all occurring within the context of just absolutely monster volume that happened today. So not that means it'll for sure happen, but whenever you can have a good solid technical pattern and combine that with very, very impressive volume, that's definitely a good combination, and that's what's happening here. So let's see how this one plays out on Wednesday. Next one here, ticker symbol BLIN. Talked about this last week, and these annotations down here, believe it or not, were actually relevant, but with today's big old gap up, both these levels sure still pertain, just not relevant, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those lines for now. But overall, everything is looking very, very impressive. Higher highs and higher lows. So from a trend building perspective, that's exactly what you want to see. But with today's, price action, and now that the day is closed, a couple of very well-defined areas have taken place, namely from the breakout perspective. Very clear, $13.35, kind of a random area, but it is what it is, and not once but twice the price tried to get up through that area, couldn't quite do it. So that's very clearly going to be that near-term breakout area. And in my opinion, at least, if the price can get a good solid high volume breakout of $13.35, then the price has a great chance of not only getting up to those highs right around $14.40, but then potentially and probably going even above those. But again, that's all about step one, not necessarily just breaking through that level at $13.35, but it's got to happen on a good solid high volume breakout. And then as far as supports are concerned, you have this area right there at let's see, what is that, $11.50, and you can see that several times today the price tried to get down through that level, but to give full credit's due, there are buyers that showed up every single time. So very clearly that's going to be that near-term level of support. Overarching area of support down there, that 50-period moving average, the purple line. But all in all, nice day today, nice setup. So let's see if the price can get that break of $13.35. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC. And once again, that trend line there continues to just kind of flex its muscles and show that for whatever reason, it continues to be a big thorn, a big annoyance. You can see this morning on the gap up, price made a move up, never quite hit the red line, but certainly I think we can all agree got into the general vicinity of it before once again getting rejected back down. And in this situation, 5150 has now officially been broken. That's a level I've talked about in several past videos. And, not that that's the end of the world, but yeah, 5150 had done such a good job of maintaining the price. And now that the price is down below there, that's, like I said, not the end of the world, but certainly not, an ideal situation. But to give some credit where credit's due, the secondary green line that I talked about last week down here at 4850 did do a fantastic job of holding strong. So price came down there, and you can see found some support right there. And once again, when the price came down to that area, never got to that area, which is good, but it has at least started to go sideways there and is showing that maybe, just maybe, this is some sort of bottoming formation. But that's just the maybe. No guarantees. So the point here being that this 48.50 mark really going to be very important. If the price comes down there and then breaks down through that area, at that point you're once again looking at those situations where it would just be another sign that the bulls are losing control here. And the next level that you would then want to keep an eye on would be down there right around 45.85. So those are going to be the key dynamics here moving forward on AMC. Next one here, ticker symbol DIDI, and obviously with the news, not good. So, of course, the big gap down, and I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of all these lines from up here from the previous times I've done videos as they're no longer relevant. But what is very now interesting, why it made at least the list in terms of stocks that I want to keep an eye on, is, yeah, the price gap down, but after the gap down, there is no further bleeding, and this will make a little bit more sense to those of you that have traded for a while. But if you have, I'm sure you've seen stocks that gap down, and then after that gap down, the price just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. But that was not the case here. Yeah, there was the gap down, but after that, all the price did the remainder of the day was trend upwards, which doesn't guarantee anything, but it at least makes it logical to think, okay, yeah, maybe this is some sort of bottom. Maybe the bulls are back and just going to start to, continue to push the price upwards. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic. And then the other reason why it makes it very interesting is check out the last 30 minutes. Again, last 30 minutes, that green candle right there, and then ultimately got a very impressive volume surge with that area. So you have the trend line, you have the final 30 minutes with the volume coming back in, nice green candle. And along with that green candle actually broke above that area right there of resistance, which had been a big problem. So keep an eye on that level at 1250. As like I said, technically speaking, that is a little miniature breakout that's occurred. So we'll see if the price can continue on with it or not. Next one here, ticker symbol XELA, and quite the last part of the day here. Basically the final 2 hours, volume came pouring back in. Price behaved very nicely with it. So a point here being, a lot of people are going to be watching this one, and rightfully so. I mean, the thing really came back to life very, very nicely. And now the main area that I think a lot of people will be watching is right up here at this former area of resistance, right up there around the $2.80 mark. You can see previously speaking, this had been a rough area where the price had struggled, but now with the big surge here, the price is definitely within striking distance. So a more than valid question now becomes, all right, which the price is within striking distance. Can the price get the breakout of 280? If it can get that breakout, then the next overarching area of resistance would then be considered up there at the $3.10 mark. So keep an eye on those couple areas from the resistance side of things. In terms of supports, the level now that you would want to see the price ideally stay above is going to be that purple line right there, the 50-period moving average, currently valued at 215. But like I said, the main dynamic here is the fact that the price just really came to life on the huge volume. So it's at the core just a question of great momentum. Is this momentum going to carry into Wednesday? Let's see what happens with it and see how it behaves with those levels of resistance. Next one here, ticker symbol TSLA, Tesla, the one that I look to try to trade every day and did indeed trade it today with some good results here. And this will mean a little bit more to those that watched the videos previously, especially the one that I did on Friday, but talked about these green lines here being levels of support. And I mean, look what happened when these levels were broken. I mean, that opening 30 minutes, a savage move to the downside. But a great classic example of technical analysis and how it works. But these levels have now all served their role, so I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of them for the time being, because at this point now there's near-term levels that matter most. And the first level that I'm very curious about now from the support standpoint is the fact that there has been this little trend line here that's formed. So I'm curious, can the price continue to stay above it? Or is the price going to, ultimately fall back below? And if it does, I wouldn't say it's the end of the world, because you got to be careful. You don't want to be going all in short right there, because not that far below, you do have that pink line, which on my chart denotes a very well-known, the very famous 200-period moving average, currently valid. We'll just call it the 651 mark. So again, just because that trend line may be violated to the downside, personally, in my opinion, I would still be a little skeptical and a little careful, because you have that overarching moving average down there, the 200-period. In terms of levels of resistance, if this upwards bounce does continue, the main level to watch, in my opinion, is going to be right up there at the 665 mark. So continue to watch that. And then also from the overarching standpoint, watch that purple line up there, the 50-period moving average. But one hurdle at a time. Let's see if the price can even get up above 665. But yeah, very rough day here for Tesla, but we'll see if there's any sort of bounce, or if maybe this is just a temporary relief before the bears make another push to the downside. But Wednesday is going to be very interesting. Next one here, ticker symbol MRIN, which has been on the list for quite a while, but rightfully so, because from a trend building perspective, it just keeps on doing what it needs to do, and that is putting in higher highs and higher lows. Now, there is the matter of perspective. I understand if you're a day trader and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then, yeah, from that perspective, things are not looking so good. However, assuming you do care about the big picture point of view, it's become very apparent that the trend, is in place, whether you want to use a trend line such as something like that, or if you just want to use moving averages and look at the purple line there, the 50-period, which has got a very clear upward slope to it. I mean, any way you look at it, there is an uptrend in place, and as long as the price keeps on putting in those higher lows, that is by far what matters most. But it's kind of a cruel uptrend. I mean, you have big moves up, then you have the big drops. Big moves up, relatively big drop. Big move up, and then a big drop. And then once again today, gapped up, and then almost a little miniature gap and trap. So depending on perspective, like I said earlier, it's going to dictate things. But at the end of the day, although it's not necessarily the smoothest of uptrends, it is still a very clear uptrend. So like I said, as long as the price keeps on putting those higher lows, that is by far what matters most. Next one here, ticker symbol OSAT. And this one's interesting because it showed that it can appear to be dead and then all of a sudden show signs of life. So what do I mean by appear to be dead? Well, opening period of time, nice move up, and then all of a sudden started to drop. And at that point, okay, maybe the game's over. But then all of a sudden, boom. Very impressive move to the upside. Now all of a sudden you look at what's going on, and once again, we'll drop in. Now, don't get me wrong. I wish I could say that, therefore, because it's happened before, it'll for sure happen again where the price just, skyrockets back up. But I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is because there's a track record of it happening before, it's at least a valid thought to, and rational question to throw out there. Hey, maybe it'll happen again. So that's what makes this very interesting, but that's also what makes this area of support, I'd say, very important. Because if the price goes down there and then breaks down through that $8 mark, now all of a sudden that puts the price kind of in this little no man's land on the chart, with the next area of support not until all the way down here at, let's see, what is that? Down around the 580 mark. And I'm not saying that if $8 breaks that within, 2 hours, the price is down at 580. But my point here is, like I said, just that no man's land there. So that doesn't mean that it can't recover back upwards. But as far as kind of the setup that I'm curious about is, okay, are you just playing dead again before skyrocketing back up? That changes the landscape of things if the price all of a sudden, just blast down through that $8 mark. If the price does try to bounce back upwards, that main area of resistance to watch closely initially going to be right at 975. Followed by the next level up there right around the 1075 mark. So we'll see how this one goes on Wednesday. Next one here, we're going down to the world of penny stocks, RGBP. And this one it's fine, but now there is a little, I don't know what's going on. And that's because of the final 30 minutes. I mean, that final 30 minutes, like I said, hasn't ruined everything at all, but it has introduced the question of, okay, yeah, but is this actually the start of something bigger to the downside? To be totally fair, this could very well just be a good old-fashioned healthy pullback, nothing to worry about. But the fact that the last 30 minutes had the volume increase like it did right there, and then had the price, form a pretty big red candle, it just introduces uncertainty now, whereas had the price just closed up around this area where it had been previously around 0.026, then at that point, that's just a very, very healthy looking consolidation. And right now, yeah, not nearly as healthy as looking as what it was. So it's really just a question of making sure that level doesn't, completely spin out of control. How am I defining spin out of control? Well, in my opinion, at least, and I'm not saying this is the be all end all, but definitely you want to see the price stay above 2 cents. If the price all of a sudden breaks down below 2 cents, again, not saying that destroys everything, but that would definitely have the chart looking just very, very shaky. Whereas if the price came down there, held above it, and then curled back upwards, well, at least at that point in time, you'd still have a set of lows right there. You'd have lows right there. And if you envision those as stair-steps, well, you'd still have stair-steps progressing the upwards direction. So like I said, not the be-all, end-all, but, definitely a good level to measure things. Now, if the price all of a sudden turns itself back around and works its way back up, that key area of resistance right now going to be right up there at that 3 cent mark. So keep a close eye on that. And next one here, ticker symbol BABA, one of these Chinese stocks that have been getting all sorts of drama, but it is, it is BABA, which is not that this guarantees anything, but it's definitely more of an established company, if you will. And the thing with these is, this thing has basically been beat down, for the past 3 days, almost straight down. So you got to think that at some point there's going to be a very worthwhile move. Now, that doesn't mean that it's reversing all the way back up to where it was, but at least from a trading perspective, something, that would definitely be tradable and profitable. And in my mind, the level that seems to make the most sense is to keep a close eye on that trend line right there, which, because of this late day bounce, which occurred right there, that trend line is now in play. Now, if the price breaks above it, does that mean the price goes straight up? That would be nice, but no, that's not what that means. But at least would symbolize the fact that it's done something that the price has not been able to do over the past several days, and that's at least, shows some sort of progress enough to push up through that trend line. So first key level of resistance definitely going to be that trend line there. If that is broken, then the next level of resistance you'd want to focus on is that pink line there, the 200 period moving average. But who knows, if that trend line steps up again and pushes the price back down, at that point, the next key level to watch very closely would be that level down there around the 209 mark. So keep a close eye on that from the support side of things. And there's nothing fancy behind that at all, other than the fact that that's just simply where the bleeding finally stopped today. And if you correspond that back with history, you can see that there's been a couple other times where the price has been down around that area, and it's done a good job of holding strong. So not totally shocking to see that level hold up. But if the price does go down to 209 and then breaks down below it, as we're seeing here, that would then all of a sudden be putting the price at levels that have not been seen for multiple weeks and multiple months. So keep an eye on these dynamics here, and we'll see what happens with it. So that's going to wrap up the top 10. And like I started off the video saying, I'll end by just, personally inviting you to get signed up for this class, especially if you enjoyed it and you're like, okay, yeah, I can see the practical power of charts. I can see how they can be used within a trader's tool belt to just make that trader, make better decisions and have a better idea of what's going on. So like I said, if you're interested, then it'll be this Thursday, July 8th, and it'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So Eastern, sometimes that can get tricky, but 7 p.m. Eastern, this Thursday, and yeah, it's live. I'll prove that it's live. I realize sometimes people say these things are live and they're not, but this one is, and there's several ways I'll prove it during the presentation, just so you know that it is truly actually live. But like I said, if you want to learn more about charts, my philosophy, how charts should be used, can be used, then definitely get signed up. As far as this video is concerned, if you enjoy these videos, these top 10, then a couple things to communicate that to me. Hit that like button, leave a basic comment below, even if it's just a smiley face emoji. But those two things go a long way in communicating to me that you do enjoy this format of video. And as long as I know that there's interest, I'll keep making them. But yeah, if you want to learn more about charts, I'd love to help you out with that and get signed up for the class. So anything else, leave that down in the comment section down below. But thanks for hanging out.